Welcome back to The Frame Shift, the channel where we dive deep into the latest trends and emerging aesthetics shaping our world. Today, we're exploring a topic that has been at the forefront of gaming innovation for years, but still sparks debate: virtual reality. Is VR the future of immersive gaming, or is it destined to remain a niche experience? Let's break it down. The rise of VR gaming. Virtual reality as a concept has been around for decades. From early prototypes in the 1960s to clunky systems in the 90s like Nintendo's Virtual Boy, the dream of fully immersive digital worlds has been tantalizing, yet elusive. It wasn't until the mid-2010s, with the launch of devices like the Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and PlayStation VR, that VR gaming started to feel like a viable reality. These devices promised unparalleled immersion, letting players physically step into their favorite games. Titles like Beat Saber, Half-Life, Alyx, and Superhot VR showcased what was possible when developers fully embraced the medium. But for every VR success story, there were challenges, from technical limitations to high costs and questions about long-term appeal. The appeal of immersion. One of VR's biggest selling points is its ability to immerse players like no other medium can. In a VR game, you're not just controlling a character, you are the character. You physically dodge bullets, swing swords, and explore alien landscapes. This level of engagement taps into something primal and deeply satisfying. For many gamers, this immersion is a game changer. Titles like Half-Life, Alyx have received critical acclaim for their ability to blend storytelling and gameplay in a way that feels entirely natural in VR. And games like Beat Saber and Pistol Whip have turned fitness into a fun, engaging experience, merging gaming with physical activity in a way that traditional consoles simply can't. But is immersion alone enough to sustain VR's momentum? Barriers to entry. Despite its potential, VR has struggled to achieve mainstream adoption. One of the biggest barriers is cost. High-quality VR headsets like the Meta Quest 3 or the HTC Vive Pro can set you back several $100s, and that's not even counting the cost of a gaming PC or console capable of supporting them. Then there's the issue of accessibility. Not everyone has the physical space to fully enjoy VR. Small apartments, cluttered rooms, or even just the lack of a dedicated gaming area can make setting up a VR system impractical. And let's not forget the learning curve. For gamers used to traditional controllers, the transition to VR can feel awkward or intimidating. Finally, there's the problem of motion sickness. While advancements in hardware and game design have minimized this issue, it's still a deal breaker for some players. If you can't spend more than 30 minutes in a headset without feeling queasy, the promise of immersion starts to lose its appeal. The content dilemma. Another challenge for VR is the lack of a consistent library of must-play games. While there are standout titles, the majority of VR games are either indie experiments or short experiences. Unlike traditional gaming platforms, VR has yet to produce a steady stream of blockbuster hits that can justify the investment for many players. Part of the issue is the difficulty of developing for VR. Creating a high-quality VR game requires rethinking everything from controls to user interfaces to storytelling. It's a much riskier endeavor for developers compared to making a game for PC or consoles. This content gap has led to a catch-22. Developers are hesitant to invest in VR because the audience isn't large enough, but the audience won't grow without more compelling games. The social factor. Gaming has always been a social activity, whether it's couch co-op with friends or online multiplayer with strangers across the globe. But VR, by its very nature, is isolating. When you're in a VR headset, you're cut off from the outside world, and that includes the people around you. Some developers have tried to address this by incorporating social elements into VR. Platforms like VR Chat and Rec Room have created virtual spaces where players can meet, interact, and play games together. These experiences hint at the potential for VR to become a new kind of social network, but they're still niche compared to the likes of Discord or Twitch. The future of VR. So where does VR go from here? There are a few key trends worth watching. First, the technology is improving rapidly. The latest generation of VR headsets is more affordable, more comfortable, and more powerful than ever before. Standalone devices like the MetaQuest series have eliminated the need for external hardware, making VR more accessible to casual gamers. Second, the rise of the metaverse could give VR a new lease on life. Companies like Meta are betting big on the idea of interconnected virtual worlds where people can work, play, and socialize. While the concept of the metaverse is still in its infancy, it's easy to see how VR could play a central role in bringing it to life. Finally, VR is starting to find applications beyond gaming. From virtual tourism to education to healthcare, VR is proving to be a versatile tool with uses that extend far beyond entertainment. These non-gaming applications could help drive innovation and adoption, creating a larger ecosystem that benefits gamers as well. A passing trend or the future? At this point, it's clear that VR has a lot of potential, but it's also clear that it's not for everyone. For some, the high cost, technical barriers, and limited game library will always outweigh the appeal of immersion. For others, the chance to step into a fully realized digital world is worth every penny. Ultimately, the future of VR gaming depends on whether the industry can overcome its current challenges. If developers can create more must-play games, if hardware continues to improve, and if prices come down, VR could become a staple of gaming culture. But if these hurdles prove insurmountable, it's possible that VR will remain a niche experience, a fascinating experiment that never quite reached its full potential. Closing thoughts. So, what do you think? Is VR the future of immersive gaming or just a passing trend? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps us keep exploring the trends and topics that matter. Until next time, stay curious.